Guys, I just got off the most insane webinar with Earon Bevans talking about real estate. Talked about how to get leads if you don't have money, how to start scaling your business once you get a couple deals, and then how to get consistent once you start getting those deals. Check it out right now.
We got Dallas, we got Vegas, we got Hampton, Virginia, Austin. We got everywhere. We got the whole country here. Let's go.
Holy moly. I
Thomas
don't know
from
if
Portland. I'm from Portland too, Thomas. Vancouver, Washington, actually.
I love it. I hope y'all know it's about to go all the way down. We're going to drop some insane value on y'all. I've been really excited for this webinar. We've done webinars with some of the biggest players in the game, y'all. But like to be the honor to be able to meet and do this webinar with Jesse Burrell. Like I'm not gaslighting. Y'all know I don't do that. Y'all know I'm not gassing. But the reason why I call it an honor, like this is just like pregame stuff, right? But guys, you got to understand some of the biggest influencers that you know in the game, they consult with Jesse. And some of the moves that they make in the game that you and I follow, these are moves that are spearheaded, thoughts and masterminded with and consulted with Jesse. So Jesse's not somebody who Jesse's just been like now like becoming social media heavy, but Jesse's been really doing things behind the scenes that influence the entire industry, y'all, like on a major scale. So for me, being as passionate as I am about this business, about this industry, y'all got to understand my level of height. You know what I mean? So anyway.
You're very flattering, but it's been fun to help a lot of people, and obviously owning Batch and all of our products. I work with a lot of influencers. I've been doing wholesaling, fix and flipping, and now developing for 8 years. So I've kind of seen the evolution of a lot of people, and I've got to see a lot of people come up, and I'm been able to see what's worked and what hasn't worked. And I still have a lot of conversations with a lot of people on what's working, what's not working, and we try at Batch to help people that use us to be successful. If people don't get deals, they're not going to keep using our products. And I started the business to help change lives. I'm not a coach. That's not like what I do. That's why I help a lot of coaches. But what I can do is help build really cool products and help people get deals, because that's what it's about. It's about getting deals, creating wealth, and changing your financial position. Because I was 29 years old with like less than $1,000 in my bank account. So I've been there. I know what it's like. It sucks. And sometimes it just takes an opportunity, to be honest with you. It's just an opportunity, and it's working hard. But money isn't as hard to make as a lot of people think that don't have it. It comes quickly, and we're going to help you guys make some for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me give some shout outs real quick because it's just about that time. Sacramento's in the building. Vegas is in the building. Austin, Texas, Fairfax, VA in the building. We got Chicago, Portland, Phoenix, Minnesota, DFW, Cali, more Chicago. Oh, is that family from Chicago? NYC in the building, Florida. What's goody? Newcastle, Delaware, Atlantic City. What up? What up? Genesee County, Missouri, Chicago, Bay Area, San Antonio in the building, 2-0. Michigan, Indy, Houston, Bay Area, Charlotte, North Carolina, Utah, or is it Utah? Charlotte, Phoenix. I love it, man. Jesse, I'm so excited right now, man. Let's go into a little bit of an agenda of what this webinar is gonna look like. Do you want to just go over like what we're gonna go over, and then we can just start jumping into some value, and then we can finish up with some Q&A to make sure that everybody here has instructional value to move forward and start launching their business like with actionable steps.
Yeah, guys, take notes and then ask questions at the end. We're not going to be answering questions. We kind of, Aaron's been bugging me to do a webinar with him for a year. So we put this together. We're very thoughtful about it. I literally scripted out the agenda. I really wanted to add value to you guys. I'm super excited. I may not have the energy Earon has, but my excitement is here. So first, let's introduce ourselves for those that don't know us. I'll introduce Earon and he could introduce me. So we got the man, the myth, Earon Bevans. He's out of San Antonio. I know that he's been wholesaling for, if I'm wrong, what, about 3 years now, Earon, roughly?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
3 years. He went from doing no deals to having 6-figure months. I've been able to be a part of his journey for about a year and a half now. And he's done a lot of things and helped a lot of people scale their businesses too. And not to say he hasn't had his struggles. So like we both get to talk about a lot of the things that we did wrong. I think that is the best way to help people, is teach you what not to do just as much as teaching you what to do, because you haven't went through those mistakes yet. I want to give the knowledge and value that we've done to really help you guys, get through your journey and learn from mistakes that we've made, so we lose the money and not you. But yeah, Earon's been doing this for 3 years, wholesaling, and he's in San Antonio. If you want to add anything about yourself, go ahead.
I mean, nothing else other than I still feel like a rookie. I still have the hunger of a rookie. So the same hunger and passion that I had when I got started, it hasn't dimmed, and I haven't become jaded with all the L's that we've taken. I'm hungrier now, man. I want to impact even more people. And so, yeah, that's it for me. I am privileged to be able to introduce Jesse Burrell to those of you that haven't met him and don't know him. Jesse Burrell has been in real estate for 8+ years. And this dude, in his first few years, flipped more houses than like I wholesaled in my whole career, even up till now. So in terms of experience in real estate wholesaling and as an active investor, Jesse knows the frontline struggles of business, which is one of the reasons why I rock with him so heavy as the CEO of Batch Services, because now providing tools and resources for those of us that are running our businesses, he understands what it feels like. He understands the struggles. I mean, he speaks our language. So how cool is it? And I mean, how many other industries could you be in where you can talk to the CEO who's providing the tools for your business? Like, that's sick. Like, imagine if you just had access to Steve Jobs, you know what I mean? It's really, really cool. So, the fact that we have him here now, and we're going to be talking about something that the reason why we're all here is because we want to be able to build a business without the budget of a major company. Like, how do I scale to that level starting off with no resources? So, I mean, I don't know of anybody else that I would want to do this except for Jesse. So,
yeah. So let's get in. Thank you, Earon. I appreciate that. Let's get into
and
the
here's
agenda.
the cheat code, by the way. Y'all want to know where the energy comes from? Rockstar, baby. Go get yours today. Use code SUPER.
So we're gonna talk about generating leads on a budget. That's what we're gonna talk about first. Then we're gonna talk about less is more. Me and Earon have had a lot of conversations about this. You don't need a big team to have big profits. A lot of these gurus or influencers. I've had the big team and I've had the smaller team. I think it's better to have a really strong small team than have a really big team that's weak. I actually made more money having, 3 to 5 people in my wholesale operation than 10 plus. And I've done it. I've had 2 wholesale companies. I've had, and I've done it. Actually, I've had 3 wholesale companies. I've had partners. I've done it on my own and have partners again. And I've done it both ways. So I really want to get into that. So what you see isn't always what you get. So we're going to talk about some strategies there. And then we're going to talk about building systems. And this is where Earon's going to come and talk about consistency and how to have that lead flow get in there and get rolling to where once you start getting those few deals from that shoestring budget, now how do you make it consistent and become, the CEO of your company, your life, and all your stuff? So excited to get into this. Let's start with, generating leads, with $1,000 or less, or even a couple $100, Earon. If you want to get started, hop into it.
I love it. So let's see how people are engaged with this right now, Jesse. If you are here because you want to know how to generate a 6-figure business with 1,000 leads or less, put a 3 in the comment section. And I will not move forward until I know that we're 100% engaged, because I don't want people that are just here but not really engaged with us. Oh, snap. This crowd is, okay, so this crowd is serious. All right, bet. So if y'all are this serious, then we're really going to bring it. Y'all want to know how to do this? Let's get it popped off.
Yeah. So if you have less than $1,000, you know, a month on a budget, and I'm saying it could be well less than that. Let's talk about some strategies of how people could start getting deals. And I'll even talk about if you have like $100 or less. So you could kind of start there if, you know, $1,000 or less. And I'll give some strategies if you don't have any money to where you can at least start getting some leads and start getting your feet wet. So you could hit it right now. Go for it.
The philosophy that I start with, and I'm not going on a tangent, I'm going into the strategy, is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And if you're taking notes, I would strongly recommend that you write that down. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And what I mean by that is the majority of people are going to want to go out and buy a big list. And I understand that philosophy. However, everybody else is doing that. And so what I would strongly recommend is to zig while they zag and drive for dollars. Yes, it's a little bit slower up front, right? You can just go click a few buttons and download a whole list. And I do recommend you're going to have to get there in business. But the extra time that it takes to drive for dollars is going to weed out 50, 60, 70% of your competition. And I know this on the front line because I'm working with people who use these softwares. And so much more people use the other easier softwares and just download lists, guys. And now excuses have been moved, because what I have my mentees do is drive for dollars virtually if they're part-time. That way, even if let's say you don't have a vehicle right now, it happens to good people. Or let's say that your time is just really limited. You're a single parent and you have kids and you only have a couple hours when the kids go to bed. And so, Earon, I can't drive around throughout the day because I got to take the kids to soccer practice, you know, during Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday I worship. This is what some of you are dealing with. Well, you can still take a couple hours and virtually drive for dollars using batch driven. Right? This is what I have my personal team doing. This is one of the ways that we actually scaled during one of the darkest times in businesses about 7 months ago, guys. We had our entire team for about 3 months straight go on into batch driven. I can show you my records. And all day long, my acquisition people were driving for dollars virtually in the office, in their, you know, on their butts like me, drinking an energy drink with music blasting in the background. And they were driving for dollars on their computers and building up a database. Here's why that's so powerful, guys. Because this is a unique list that nobody else in your marketplace is going to have access to. It's your driving route. While somebody went right, you went left. And so it's just a very unique list. And you know that it's vetted because you're looking at the property and you can see that it's a distressed property. And what we're finding statistically, and this is nationwide amongst all of my students and myself, is that on average, tell me if you see anything else and contend with me, because I've yet to be corrected on this stat. On average, it's taking about 50 to 60 driving for dollar leads to get a contract. That's nuts. That's nuts. I'm not seeing those numbers in other lists anywhere, no matter how sexy those lists are. And yet so many people are not driving for dollars. So, and guys, let's talk about the cost for this. Let's talk about the cost. The Driving for Dollars app. And guys, I'm not selling anything. I'm telling you what I'm doing, right? It's your job whether or not you want to do it. But watch this. The Driving for Dollars app is about $39, let's say $49, something like that. And then let's say you added about 300 to 500 Driving for Dollars leads. That's the highest quality, Driving for Dollars prospects to your database. That's the highest quality list that you can possibly have, right? And then you do a cycle where 2 or 3 days you add 300 and then you call those 300 and cycle through that. So now let's run the numbers. It takes about 14, let's say it takes 14 cents to skip trace them, and you're doing 500 a week times 14 cents, $70 to do 500 leads prospects plus the cost of the software, you're less than $200. And look at the impact that you can have with the highest quality list. And then you can call them right away. Now, this is exactly what my team did at the beginning of this year, y'all, because we lost a lot of money during 2020. And then once we started doing this, we revved the engines and we started getting to the point where we could hit 6-figure months. Now we've still had some challenges, but this right here has been the sauce and the easiest, cheapest, most direct way to get to 6 figures that I have ever seen. I know I just word vomited, Jesse, but I was excited to share that first portion on it.
Yeah, if you want to drive for dollars virtually on the app, you have to have a laptop. You can't do it from your cell phone. So I just want to make sure if that's something, a strategy you want to do, you do have to have a laptop computer to do that, because you can't do it from the phone. You could drive for dollars, actually physically drive from your phone, obviously, but you have to virtually drive. But another thing, guys, I love what Earon's talking about too, but you know, it does take time to build leads. And the other thing too is I know that you're seeing something, you know, with how many leads it takes for you to get a deal. But if you're new, you know, it may take more leads because you have to know how to close deals. You have to know how to underwrite deals. You know, you have to do all those things too. So
amongst newbies, I'm seeing, yeah, 50 to 75. 75 is if you suck at sales. 75 is if you've never done a sale in your life. We're not seeing it. More than 75, you're lying to me. That's from coast to coast.
Yeah. So another strategy too, if you're getting started, let's say that you don't have, you know, money to even do that, you know, that still costs you a few $100s a month at least.
Yep.
But you guys have to understand, if you're expecting to get a $10,000, $20,000 paycheck, you're not going to be able to just, you know, do it for 2 weeks and expect to get that. It does take months and months of practice and time to get this. But if you just want to get started and work on your craft, you've done this too, Earon, is calling FSBOs on Zillow. I think that's obviously a great tool as well to get started. And FSBOs is for sale by owners. So you just have to look up the for sale by owners on Zillow and get to calling them. So you've done that before too. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to address this really quick, and maybe this is the squirrel in me, but somebody's requesting a longer than a 7-day trial. Can I just say something? And Jesse's probably going to have to punch me in his face as the little brother. I don't think a batch should be doing a free trial at all. I think it's bull crap. It's $39. And guys, I'm showing people how to make 6 figures. I have little kids making 6 figures. And are you seriously asking for a longer free trial? Come on, dog.
Yeah, I don't think you need a free trial.
I can borrow $40. What are you saying, bro? You want a longer trial? I'm sorry, bro, but come on, my guy. Come on, family. Anyway,
no, it's committing to something, guys. At the end of the day, for you guys that are on here, it's being consistent. A 7-day or 14-day free trial doesn't matter. You should learn it, you should work it, and you should do it. The trial doesn't matter. It's what you do after the trial and how you stay consistent on your lead flow. But like right here, we have Corey Hayes. I made my very first deal off of FSBO on Zillow, 15K, yep. Assigned it. There is deals everywhere. It's consistency and working on your craft. So let's go into FSBOs. Talk about FSBOs and how that works, Earon.
I love it. And I hope y'all guys know that Chris and those that I just called out right now, I do mean love. Yeah, I do mean love, y'all. So FSBOs, we've crushed it with FSBOs. So when you say FSBOs, the strategy that we've used with FSBOs is if we're in the field driving for dollars and we see a for sale by owner, we will call them right on the spot. I've never made any money off of the Zillow strategy, although I've a lot of people I know have. What we did though is while we were driving for dollars in the territory, if we saw a for sale by owner sign in the territory, it was like law. You had to stop right then and there and call them on the spot, because you might be the first one, or you just might catch them at the right time. And we say, hey, I'm in front of the property right now, I'm interested in it, and we would get details right then and there. One of the deals that we got was in a gentrifying area in our city, and it was an older gentleman, and I don't know if we just caught him at the right time, but it was a for sale by owner. We just so happened to be driving for dollars. We were kind of discouraged a little bit. Called him. He liked our style, and turned out that we could help him, and it was a $50,000 deal. And so that's just from that point, it's just always been law. Like if we're in the field and we see a for sale by owners sign, stop right then and there, or at the very least, if you're in a rush, take the picture of it and then call it as soon as you can, because I mean, there's so much opportunity there, you know?
Yeah. So I've actually got deals off of calling for sale by owner. So what you do is you go on Zillow. When it goes to for sale properties, they have a section that you could filter out, and you just click the for sale by owner in a certain zip code, and you start calling them because it has the owner's information there. So this is good to get deals, but it's also good if you're just getting started and want to cut your teeth to get some practice in. If you have a script, if you're just getting into it, it's a great way to start talking to people. These people want to sell their house. You're going to learn if someone's motivated or unmotivated, how to get those, factors out of those people. It's super important. Another thing that's good too is on Zillow as well, for rent by owners. If something's been on the market for a long time and they haven't got it rented, we would call those people and try and see if they'd be interested in flipping them into selling the house. And that's worked for me as well, as I've gotten deals out of that as well. So there are great free ways to really get started. And you may not get a deal, but you're going to get practice. So for when you start spending money on leads, that you will be ready to contract that property. It's super important. It's just practicing consistency and talking to motivated sellers. Now, if they're motivated by for sale by owner, there's a reason why they have a for sale by owner and they're not using an agent. Find out that reason. They may have a friend that wants to sell a property. The more people you talk to, the more people you could impact, the more you could change your life and the more money you could make. There's so many free ways to get deals too. So let's get into the next one. I want to talk about another thing I like, and this is networking and co-wholesaling, to where I've gotten so many deals. You can do this through social media. I'm sure you get people sending you deals all the time to co-wholesale or to buy, going to meetups, RIAs. If you're just getting started, this is by far, in my opinion, one of the best first ways to get started. Is start talking to other investors, help them sell properties, help them work with buyers. There's so many things that you could do here. Earon, you want to jump into this one?
Yeah, I love this part of the business, because guys, this is one of the best ways to use what you do have, a resource that you do have and can create with little to no experience, is a network. And that's what's good about it. So I know that one of the most limiting beliefs, some of you are there right now, and maybe some of you remember and can relate to this. Whenever we got started, we were so nervous of somebody asking us a question that we didn't know the answer to, or one of your buyers calling you out on your ARV and your ARV being wrong because you don't really know what you're doing yet. Like we all remember that feeling. Well, it's true. You are inexperienced, but the special thing that you can bring to the table right now is a network. And what I mean by that is you may know somebody that some especially savvy person doesn't know. And you can be the bridge to connect a deal and eat something off of that deal and share the pie at the table. So you might know a savvy person who needs to get rid of one of their deals that need to sell. A rental or whatever. Or you might be the person who knows all of the wholesalers, and so you can tell the wholesalers, hey guys, I have a bunch of hungry buyers, send me your deals and I'll get them sold for you, and I'll just eat off the top. You know what I mean? And so you can now be the person who everybody sends deals to. You can frame this in whatever position you want, or you could be the person who's, look, I'm a good salesperson, but I don't have a network. Then I can just focus on getting deals and then giving them to people who can sell them. You can frame this however you want. And for almost $0, you can literally just connect the dots between people via a network and make money, generate out of thin air. I mean, it's an amazing thing. And then using social media to do so, not to do so is kind of foolish, to be honest. For 60 seconds a day, for all of $0, $0. I can take this device right here and I can record myself and say, hey guys, I'm looking for deals. All the wholesalers out there, send me your deals. I got hungry buyers. 60 seconds every single day. And man, within a month, your DMs are going to be flooded with free deals. And now you're the plug for all your buyers, you know? I mean, it's just too easy. But it's a fun way to really build up your cash with $0.
So the common factor that we have in all of this, that we've talked about everything, you're talking every day, 60 seconds. I'm talking lead generation. It's consistency, guys. I'm going to hammer on this the whole time, is help people, care, and be consistent. I have always been those three things, and I've gotten more and more successful, and I've been able to help more and more people. If you're consistent, if you care, and your end goal is to help people, that's all that matters. Your end goal should be in wholesaling. Think of it this way, you guys. You're helping someone out of a situation and helping better a community. That is what you're doing, is you are helping your community. That's what it's about. Brent Daniels and me have talked about this a lot. When you are wholesaling, you're selling it to someone to flip it, right? What does a flipper need? They're going to have contractors. They're going to have subs. You're helping simulate the economy. You're helping a neighborhood get better. You're helping the person that's selling you the house to get out of a situation. That's why they're selling to you off market. You're helping your community in so many ways. And if you could start there, it's not about the money you make. I promise you, at first, to you, it is that. If you could get that out of your mindset, it's about helping your community. And the more you help the community, the more money you make. That is just the fruits of you helping. You know, that's not what it's about, though. And if you could change your mindset to really focusing on stuff like that and changing your thinking, that's what's going to make you successful in this business, is helping.
Can I ask you a question, bro?
Yeah.
It's so funny to me because have y'all guys noticed that all the rich people talk like this? All the rich people are always talking about helping and giving, but I remember starting, Jesse, and being like broke.
I've been there too.
And so, but here's my point, because you're the right person to ask. So how do I get that? Because if I'm like, dude, I know you're saying that, but I'm freaking stressed out about me right now. How do you get to where you're focusing on, okay, I need to not stress about me, even though those problems are real. I need to focus on how do I get there? How do I get myself into that mindset?
It's hard. It's really hard, because when you don't have a lot of money, you are in a scarcity place that is selfish. So all you're about is that is just human instinct. You are in a place to where you're in fight or flight. You're in fight. You know, you have to fight to make sure bills are paid, to make sure they have rent, or if you have kids, you have to feed them. But it's really hard to get out of that. And you have to have faith. You have to trust the process. And honestly, you have to work your ass off. That's where it's at, is the people that have been really successful. They're the ones that are working from 8 to midnight on their side hustle or driving for dollars. The people that don't make it and keep being broke are the people that don't work hard or sacrifice when you can't. You have to change it. There's no such thing as an excuse. I was broke, and instead of watching TV, I was like, I'm going to change what I do. I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to work till midnight. I'm going to do what others aren't going to do. Now, if you tell me that you're really doing that and you're not making money, I haven't met you yet. That's facts. There's no one that is going to work that hard that's not going to change their lives. Right. It's decisions that you make on how you spend your extra time. Are you really, look yourself in the mirror, and if you've really worked this hard on trying to create real estate or get deals, and you've really done everything you can, dude, I will personally help you, but I guarantee you haven't. Because there's always time and there's always a way to help the community and have that success that you're thriving to have if you really want it. Every person I know started with nothing, or a lot of them did, and it was hard work, and it was doing whatever it took, and it wasn't going out, and it wasn't watching TV, and it wasn't watching Netflix. It was learning, getting on webinars like this, and changing your life. That's right.
And I think it was so important for us to touch on that, because again, the theme is how to scale a business with less than $1,000 and no team. And a large part of this is where we're coming from in terms of our mentality and our approach. So what's the next thing that we have on the agenda for value for the family?
All right, we got consistent deals. So now that, let's say you've gotten a couple deals, let's say that you got through this hustle, you're working these 12-hour days, you stacked your bank account up a little bit. Now, how do you get, consistent, and how do you start, slowly scaling your team? Not saying you need a big team, but how do you start adding some pieces to where you're not having to do everything? Because you guys, there is burnout. And when you get started, you have to bootstrap it, and all the stuff I just talked about. That is for when you get started. Now, once you've gotten some deals and you're still doing that, now I'm going to call you stupid, because you need to start scaling, hiring stuff you're not good at, and letting people help you become more successful. So let's talk about some of those things. I have on my list, I have onboarding, hiring, and KPIs. What do you want to start with?
I want to start with so hiring and onboarding. Those are two different items. Like so what do you mean by onboarding? The training?
So you need to hire people, right? And let's start with hiring.
Let's start with hiring. Yeah, let's start with hiring. Okay, I see what you're saying. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding your terminology, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So a lot of people, I learned this from Sean Terry. Shout out to Sean. He's a friend of mine. You want to start in your wholesale business. I would start with a VA to take tedious tasks off your plate. Now that could be list pulling. That could be cold calling. If you're doing the cold calling, that could be a lot of different things. Is start with what is the least valuable use of your time, and start hiring that out. And let's say, because you have made money, you have had a couple deals now start with the small stuff and start with someone that could take that off your plate. That's where I think you start. If you have that, then where are your strengths and where are your weaknesses? Are you good at cold calling and locking up deals? Are you good at selling deals? Are you good at talking to the sellers? Are you good at building? So I was always great at building relationships with my buyers. I was good at dispositions. That was
interesting.
That was my biggest strength, was the dispo side. So I hired acquisition guys. I hated cold calling. I hated talking to sellers. I had to close deals. I wouldn't mind helping my team close deals when they're hot, and I love negotiating, but I was really good at generating long-lasting relationships and helping find win-win situations with buyers. So the first thing I hired was the acquisition side for my company.
I love it. So that's really interesting, because the first thing I hired was, so I'm the opposite of you, Jesse. My skill set was in acquisitions. I hated disposition. In fact, I'm very, very weak in disposition. And you want to know why? Because I get cuddly with clients. I get cuddly with them. So I'm great in acquisitions to really get the prices as low as possible. But I'm weak with buyers, because when my buyers are more savvy negotiators, and they get cuddly with me and say, come on, Earon, how much money did I make you last year? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'll give you this one, And so I had to hire out dispositions first. So I love this philosophy that you're bringing out, Jesse. Hire your weakness. Hire your weakness. I'd like to go back just a little bit and say, before I hired that big of a role, though, I did get rid of marketing. So my philosophy, and I'm not being dogmatic, I'm just kind of sharing my philosophy. The first thing that I would get rid of in business, which Jesse said, which is the lowest level task. So like, let's say you're bootstrapping it, you're real tight on money, you're just starting to get some money. The first thing I would hire out is a virtual assistant, or at least a cold caller or team of cold callers, to get marketing off of your plate, because I believe marketing is the lowest yielding important thing, if that makes any sense. It's the lowest time ROI yielding important task that can easily be delegated off of your plate, but it's going to give you the highest ROI. So I would get a virtual assistant for marketing, and then still be closing your deals, and then from there hire out your weakness. If you're good with acquisition, then your first hire should be dispo. If you're good with dispo, then your first hire should be ac, and then go from there. And then after you have that hired out, I'd strongly consider a TC. Once deals are coming in consistently, I'd strongly recommend at least 3 to 5 deals a month consistently. I'd strongly encourage you getting a transaction coordinator, someone who primarily focuses only on the paperwork, so that you don't have to be worrying about just signing contracts and addendums and amendments all day, every day, because that starts to compile really quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Let me interrupt you really quick. You said the marketing, get that off the plate. You guys don't confuse that with, you're the owner, you're the CEO of your company. You still are putting the strategy and have to have the numbers accountable. So Earon didn't mention that. You're still putting the strategy. They're doing the tedious marketing tasks. If it's doing the texting for you or the cold calling for you or pulling lists, you still have to tell them what to pull and what to do and keep that organized. And then also, this is, I'm going to disagree with you again on something else.
Please.
For 3 to 5 deals, you don't need a TC. Your dispositions should be able to do that. I was dispoing 10 plus deals a month on my own. That means you didn't hire right, homie. So you don't need a TC to help your dispo till you're probably over 10 deals a month. Brandon Simmons, who worked for Sean Terry, they're doing 10 to 20 deals a month back when he worked for him. He TC'd it and did it all on his own as well. I think personally, if you have a TC and a dispo, there's a lot of disconnect. So TC is the transaction coordinator, to where they're working with title. And then Earon saying dispo just works on selling the properties. I think you could find someone that could do both, because when you have too many processes, there's going to be blame game on both their sides. I've done this both ways. I think it's good to have someone manage the process from start to finish. Personally, I would just get a second dispositions agent to do the same thing again instead of having a TC, because I've had too many problems with stuff going beneath, and then your seller starts getting confused on who they're supposed to be talking to and scheduling stuff with.
That is solid. That is actually a very, very solid point, because you're absolutely right. While we did have that, it was so much of a headache, and there was more to have to systematize because there's more humans involved. Okay, now that's why we got Mr. the Data King up in here. I love it. I love it. So what's next? So so I want to touch on this with hiring. I feel like in terms of revenue, one of the most important hires you're going to make is in your sales force, because without sales, your business goes limp. And so I have a little nugget that I'd like to share in terms of hiring a sniper, an absolute beast. Now, this isn't the whole hiring process. It's only one ninja tip. And this is just crazy, and it's worked for us thus far. And it looks something like this. In the ad, wherever you put your ad, I'm not going to answer that question. You can put it everywhere, but in the ad, you state something like this for your sales force, whether it's acquisition or disposition. Don't even think about applying unless you can prove you're the best. Okay, that right there, if you put that statement in your ad, don't even think about applying unless you can prove you're the best. It's already going to weed out a lot of the weak, limp wannabe salesmen, because they're going to be like, oh, snap, they have high standards. Okay, good. We want low standards out of here. The second thing, watch this, guys. Whenever you get on the phone interview with them, you're going to do the small talk. Okay, we can dive right into the call. Here's the question. And so you can write this down word for word. So as you know, we're only looking for the best. What makes you think we should choose you? That's the statement. As you know, we're only looking for the best. What makes you think we should choose you? Watch this. No matter what they say, it could be the most compelling proof, evidence-based reason, argument. No matter what they say just like this. Not hearing top performer. Now watch this. 90% of the people that you interview it's gonna sound something like this. Okay. Why? And any weak fallback response, tell them just like this. Yeah, just not hearing top performer, and they will literally walk themselves off the phone. But watch this. The 10% that do that are top performers, here's how it's gonna sound. Yeah, not hearing top performer. And by the way, this is Tony Robbins who gives this advice. He said he did the same thing with his sales staff, and when he did it, This is his simulation. Not hearing top performer. The guy's like, well, are you deaf? And Tony Robbins is like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, are you deaf? Because the last place I was at, I was able to turn around sales and and I was able to do this. And the place before that, in 6 months, I was doing what the guys with 3-year tenure were doing. And Tony Robbins is like, yeah, this guy's selling himself. And most HR people hate this strategy because they're like, that's so mean and rude. But what his argument is there's nothing nice about sales. It would be an injustice for me to coddle somebody who's a weak-lipped salesperson, and so this is a good way to only hire on killers and bring on the sharks onto the team. So I just wanted to share that because I think that's something we've had success with thus far.
That's a great tip. That's incredible. Luckily, for my sales team on the batch side, our culture is to help, not be cutthroat. So it's a little bit different. But for wholesale, I couldn't agree more. Real estate and wholesaling and investing and buying off-market deals is not for the faint of heart. You want someone that is confident. You want someone that believes in themselves, and you want someone. I think that's a great tip. So let's say now that you've found the right people, this is where I want to talk about. This is something I've learned a lot. Is now I want to talk about onboarding real quick. I'll make it pretty quick because we have some more stuff that we need to get into. But what I've learned, especially when we had a big wholesale team doing 30 plus deals a month, we created really good onboarding processes. Unfortunately, Earon, we're not going to get all the perfect superstars. You have to have like a 2-week onboarding process to where, as you're the owner, you don't want to have to train these people every time someone new comes in, to where you need a process and a day by day. So we had 2 weeks lined out, hour by hour, of how to train someone up. Some of it could be videos, some of it could be worksheets. We would have tests for people. Obviously, you or the sales manager is going to have to spend some time with them, but it should be a repeatable process that you're constantly tweaking and changing to make sure that you're as much off hands as you can be to onboard a new person onto your team, to have them to get started to make deals from you. That's not taking all the time away from you, because you're going to be in a hamster wheel if you have to keep training people. And unfortunately, in wholesale and real estate, you're going to have, this is the hardest thing about it once you start building a team, is people are going to leave you. I don't care how great your culture is. You're teaching them something that they could go do on their own. You're going to get a great person. You're going to get 1 to 2.5 years on your team. You have to have a good training process and build that process out and make sure that you can find good people, but train them right, onboard them right. And then it's not a burden when you lose someone, because you have such a great process to plug the next person in. That's why the New England Patriots, who I hate, they have a system that worked for so long with Tom Brady, because they had systems and processes. They were just plugging people in. That's what you want your business to look like. Don't be dependent on a single person.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love, you implied something, Jesse. I just want to add this sauce to it. You implied, like, so with the systems and processes, guys, I know that these words, this phrase scares a lot of people because they feel like it locks them into something, but it doesn't. It frees you up. Instead of, imagine being caged in your business where you always have to do everything. And imagine, whenever, and by the way, Forte, yes, it's the training process. That's what he means by onboarding, getting somebody acclimated to the policies, the systems, the processes of the company, so that you can take somebody who's cold, and then within 2 weeks, they can know where to go, who to talk to, and how to perform their role with efficiency and effectiveness. But watch this, y'all. If, like Jesse recommended, you have a training video. When somebody new comes on, you might only have to answer a question once, if that. If you have a good onboarding system, you already have videos that answer it. Hey, boss, where do I go to get that? Did you watch the video in the onboarding? That there's a training on that. You know what I mean? So can I ask you this, Jesse? Because whenever people would recommend this, it used to piss me off so bad, because I'm like, how do I do that? And once it was explained to me, it became so simple. But where does somebody start if, like, none of their systems are like, they know how to do everything in their business now, but like none of those items are like anywhere, they're just in their head. Like, where do I start to get to where I can like actually duplicate this stuff amongst other people?
Yep. So you document it. And this is the thing, if you want to treat people right or treat the new people right, they're going to feel so much more welcome when you have a process and an onboarding for
Wow.
them. The other thing, you guys, too, is you want all of your team, if you have a great training, you want everyone to be trained the same to where they all know how to do stuff equally right, and they're able to help each other because you have a process of how they're supposed to do things. Now for onboardings, you could do like a Google Drive that has all the days spread out if you don't want to spend any money. Trainual.com, not affiliated in any way. We use them for a long time. Now our HR platform has our training in it, but we use Trainual to where you can literally build out everything. So we have videos, we have worksheets, we have, they're spending this hour listening on calls with the sales team or doing this and that. And the good thing is you always get feedback from the new trainee. And let's say you haven't built out the process, go to like your sales guy and be like, hey, you're going to help me build this process out. And you go from start to finish, and it is forever changing, just like your marketing or just like you trying to get better at closing deals. Your onboarding is you start with the best of your ability to have something put in place with the protocol, and you constantly keep building and changing on it. We literally have revamped ours on Batch for people that we onboard. So this is why it's so important. We have, for all Batch and all of it products, I have over 170 people that work for us. Every single person has to start. Every single person has to start on a Monday, and every single person has the same training the first week, and then the second week it splits off into their specific position. So everyone has to learn Batch. They have to learn all the products, no matter what product they start for. They have to understand what wholesaling is, real estate investing is, fix and flipping is. They have to understand our customer and how we want to help them. That is the importance. And now when we onboard someone, they are thankful because they know how to do their job and do it well. And we're always changing and tweaking this. It was trainual.com. Trainual, TRAINUAL.com.
I'll put it in here. TRANUAL.com.
Alex, put it in trainual.com. I got my video editor right next to me. He got this. Okay, sorry, perfect. You guys. I went off on a tangent, but like,
no, that was powerful. That was so powerful, bro. That was so good. I'm taking notes myself.
So now that you have, you've onboarded people, you've hired people. Let's talk about quickly, because we're getting behind. We could go long, obviously. The importance of KPIs.
Yep. So this is
what is a KPI for those that don't know? It's called a key performance indicator. It's how you're tracking, numbers in your business. So let me give a quick example before Earon gets started. All right, you have cold callers. How many calls do they need to make to get a hold of a person? You want to track that. How many people does it take to get a hold of a person, or how many people does it take to get a hold of to get an appointment, and then track that? And how many appointments does it take to get a contract? Track that. How many contracts does it take to close a deal? That's KPIs. Those are key performance indicators that you may want to do for cold calling. So the importance of those is it's basically the livelihood of your business for you to predict how many deals you could get, your revenue, your marketing costs, so on and so forth. But I'll let you elaborate into it a little bit further.
No, I love it. I couldn't have explained a KPI better. I just wanted to make sure that people, you don't misunderstand a KPI for an IPA. And I always see people do that, and they are not the same thing. A KPI is as Jesse said, a key performance indicator. An IPA is an income producing activity. And so if I'm just getting started, I need to focus on my IPAs, otherwise I'll never have any KPIs to measure. Right? So your IPAs, it's the things that are going to move the needle to actually have a KPI. So what are my IPAs? It depends. What's your marketing method? Are you texting? Then you need to be texting. So is there a time block for that income producing activity? But what I encourage most people to do is to be on the phones, right? To be talking, how many people do I have to talk to? How many leads do I need for a contract, et cetera, for KPIs? But I just want to elaborate on this sense, Jesse, that to track these things, it's so annoying in the beginning because you just want to get to the action. I just want to be about the action. I don't want to worry about tracking and I'm measuring and all that. But the reason why this is so powerful is because what I found, Jesse, The biggest thing, and this is after consulting for the past, I've been helping people in the trenches for the past 3 years, and hundreds of conversations with wholesalers while I'm struggling in the business myself, getting to where we are today. And what I've noticed, so many of these individuals, the vast majority of these hundreds of people, they end up failing wholesaling real estate for no reason other than, I was just talking about this on the live I was on, it's fear. It's fear. Fear of, I don't know if I only have 5,000 or less, and so if I put this 2,000, will I get it back? So I'm just going to be, and then they end up falling off, or I'm afraid to make this call, or I'm afraid, whatever. But it comes down to fear. And what throws or casts out fear are numbers, because they say that fear is false, fear is a lie, fear is just the imagination, right? So men lie, women lie, fear lies, fear is just a liar. But what doesn't lie? Numbers. Numbers cannot lie. So guys, I know it sounds tedious what Jesse is saying, but Jesse, if you really think about it, I'm not gassing. The dude is a freaking military commander. He has 147 people under his stewardship. Oh my God. How does he live and he doesn't have wrinkles on his face? It's because he understands numbers. So if you understand numbers, you can take bigger risks, because you can measure stuff and say, well, I know that my last $10,000 generated X. So if I just put another 10,000, I can expect for another X. Whereas another person doesn't know what their last $10,000 did, and they know they only have 15,000 left. So they're scared to drop that 10,000 because they don't have the numbers, because fear is a liar, but numbers don't lie. So I just wanted to add that on there, that, this stuff that you're dropping, Jesse, it's not just boring number stuff. This is the stuff that makes greatness. You know what I mean?
No, they're important because it helps you track. Let's say you have multiple strategies for marketing. It helps you track, money that you're putting into marketing, what's having the best return. And it really does also help you track, if you do have, sales team, it helps you track who's doing well, how you could help them. Like, are they struggling with leads? Why is someone doing better? That's where, as a leader, if you hire people, you better be ready to feed them and feed them well. Especially in wholesaling. If you can't provide the leads and the income that you're promising to them, then you probably shouldn't have hired anybody yet. But you can't understand how to give them the proper amount of leads if you don't have KPIs to know, I need to spend this much to get them this many leads so they can make this much and reach their goals. And then you're pouring into these people and helping them. They're helping you, live out your dream. And if their dream is to help you with your dream, you better care about them, and you better make sure that you could get them to where they want to go to, because they are a part of your team.
Wow.
I look at, them as partners. I can't do any of this without my staff. There's no way, shape, or form. They are a part of the team. They are a part of the dream of helping other real estate investors be successful. That is Batch's dream. So I want to help as many people as I can get deals. That is why I'm doing this webinar. I'm trying to give all the stuff I've learned and help you guys and really understand, not just gassing you up with get rich quick. This isn't get rich quick. This is learn how to grow a business, be sustainable, and change your life. And that's what I want to help people to do.
I freaking love it, man. I love it. I love it. It's crazy how the most simple fundamental things in business, like tracking your KPIs and IPAs, always yields back to the bigger vision. It always comes back to the big vision and the team. I love it. I love it. So what's next? Jesse?
All right, next. So that is really what we wanted to talk about, but I know we wanted to finish up with some Q&A. We got, 10 to 15 minutes, you guys. So if you have some questions, and you guys have been patiently waiting, I know a few have came out, but dude, fire away. I'm happy.
There's one question that was asked that I want to address while everybody else is putting their questions in there, Jesse. Someone asked the question of
what, the sales script question?
Yeah, the sales script or no
Okay.
script. What's your take on that?
I have a lot of experience here. To get started, use a script, but because you have to learn it. I prefer to do bullet points, but when someone's starting, they need to be scripted during training. But you want to yank that script away as fast as possible, because you want someone to have bullet points. Each person that you hire, or even yourself, You're going to have your own way of how you talk to people. There's key things that need to be talked about during a conversation. Your job is to figure out, how does this person that works with me, how are they best suited? Everybody has a different personality type. You need to squeeze the best out of everyone. Don't teach everyone the same. I don't manage everybody the same. Someone could be more sensitive. You need to coddle them a little bit more and gas them up. Someone could take constructive criticism and that gasses them up. Don't treat everyone the same. That starts with scripts too. Have someone learn a script because you're training them, but you just need an outline of stuff they need to talk about. Listen to their calls. Always listen to people's calls. Even listen to your own calls and see where your shortcomings are if you're getting started. Because if you don't want to listen to them, that means you don't do a very good job on your calls.
Let's go. Yeah.
But I did that for myself when I was calling people, and I had to cold call and do all this stuff too, just like you guys had to. Listen to yourself, look for improvement, and that's something I think that's really important.
You made such a powerful point. There's a gentleman, I don't know if you've heard of him, those of you in the audience. His name is Keith Cunningham. And apparently he's the gentleman who the book, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad was based off of, right? His name is Keith Cunningham. And Keith Cunningham was quoted as saying, what doesn't get measured, it says, a person who doesn't want to be measured is someone who refuses to be held accountable, and accountability builds leaders. Like, that's huge. So think about what Jesse just gave y'all. He said, listen to your calls. If you don't want to do that, that means you don't want to hold yourself accountable, and whoever doesn't want to be held accountable can never be a leader. So that's huge right there. That's huge.
All right, let's start off. Is it good to get your real estate license if you're wholesaling in Illinois to scale faster? I believe in Illinois that you do need your license to wholesale. So I believe that is one of the states to where you do need your license to wholesale. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not 100% sure, but from what I've been told, disclaimer, but I think you need a license to wholesale. If
you 100% do. No, okay. You 100% do. There's a few of my mentees who are there. We've done a lot of research, and Illinois requires you to get a license. You can do one wholesale deal a year in Illinois on your own. But then anything beyond that, if it's caught by underwriting that you're trying to do it, or that you have performed it, that you'll be fined a hefty fee. So this is what I encourage people who are wholesaling in Illinois. Let's say you are somebody like, let's say you have a record, a felony record, and you cannot become a license. There's a lot of people on here. Y'all know who y'all are. That's who you are. And so look, so let me say this. Here's what I have done, and a large amount of my
quick, Earon. We got a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's very quick. It's very quick. Raise money. Wholesaling is never going to go away, and just because it becomes regulated doesn't mean the concept is going to go away. This is fundamental to economics. You buy low and sell high. So if you can't become a realtor in Illinois for whatever reason, you don't have the time, or you just can't, just raise private money, take them down, and then wholesale them that way.
I love it. So what tool is it cost to use or call to drive for dollars? It's batchleads.com. You can sign up, get a 7-day free trial. I think plans start at, is it 39, Alex? 39 a month? They start at 39 bucks a month, you guys. It's a great tool to help you get started. Don't want to plug too hard, but I've had a lot of friends have a lot of success with it. Next one, go back up.
Sounds like this strategy is best used when cold calling these leads. How does direct mail change everything?
Direct mail, just direct mail, you're taking an inbound lead, it's not an outbound lead, so it's totally different. So
it's actually a higher quality lead if you once you do inbound with direct mail, in my experience.
Oh, way better, but it's one of the most expensive lead sources. But if you make sure you just answer. Like, I could just say answer first call, find out their motivation, and then start going through your script like you're qualifying. You're just taking out the beginning part of reaching out and seeing if they're interested.
Yep.
It's someone calling you saying they're already interested. This is something I do want to talk about. How do you structure your AM? So that's acquisition manager, DM, that'd be disposition manager, lead manager, TC and pay, salary, hourly, commission. I've done all of this every way. As I said, I've had a lot of people work for me. Honestly, it comes down to your market, what you need to pay in your market, and what is it? What do you expect? So like for an acquisition manager, that would be how many leads are you getting them? How much money are you spending on them in marketing? So your goal should be making 5 to 7x return. So if you're paying them $10,000 in commissions and salary, they better be bringing you $50,000 to $70,000 a month. That's how I look at it. If they're bringing you 5,000, they better be making you 25 to 30,000. That's how you should look at structuring their money. If they're making you 20 grand, like let's say you're cutting them a check for 20 grand, you should be happy to. If they're making you between $100,000 and $120,000, never worry about how much money you're paying them. Worry about your return on your investment. People that work for you are returns on investment. They work for you. That's how I've always looked at it. So it depends on how much they're making. But that could be anywhere from 10% that you're paying them to 20%. Depends on the lead flow and how good they are at closing and how much you're spending on marketing. So that's a good thumbnail. And then for dispositions, same thing, but it should be a lower percentage because they're making you a lot more money.
That's right.
So let's say one dispo guy is making you 100 grand a month selling the properties. They should be getting, if it's a bigger operation, 3 to 5%, honestly, because I know people that are selling $200,000 of plus in deals a month. But if let's say you're doing a smaller amount, you should be giving them closer to 10% per deal and maybe a small salary. But it just depends. It depends how good someone is and how much they take off your plate.
That's right. I love that. I love that. Then Eddie S has a question. He says, any tips on breaking past one deal a month? I can answer this in 30 seconds. It comes down to how many leads are coming in. Remember, Eddie, remember what I said? How many leads are coming in? Your organization, how many offers are going out? That's what it comes down to. What we've seen statistically, 50 to 70 leads yields a contract, and in new operations, 1 out of every 4 contracts falls off if you're negotiating properly. So that means that you're gonna need to generate at least 200 leads, and talk to them in order to get 1 to 2 contracts in a month, depending on how good of a closer you are. It's just more leads and more offers, Papa.
When getting started, guys, you've got to reinvest in yourself and your business. Is figure out what your bills are. Everything else should go back into marketing, in my opinion, or hiring people or helping. But if you're at that 1 deal a month, be like you're broke. If you're getting a deal and you're making 10 grand, your bills are 2. Start figuring out strategies on how to get yourself more leads. Now, obviously, you get to a capacity to where you can't handle more leads. That's when it's time to maybe start hiring that BA or doing something like that. Because what happens if you're a solopreneur, you're going to get a deal and then you're going to stop generating as many leads because you need to sell that deal. You're doing everything on your own. So you're going through this tipping scale back and forth, or in this hamster wheel to where you're doing the same thing over and over again. That's when talk to people that have done more, and that's where we could give you advice on, you'd really have to dive into your business to figure out, what type of reserves you have and stuff like that. But it's just making sure you could be generating more leads, more quality leads, go deeper with your leads, and just reinvesting your money back into your business is how I see it.
I love it. Can you say the figures again about how many calls you have to make to get a deal? I don't have the figures exactly on calls, but I do know that it takes about 50 to 75 leads to get a contract. So however many calls it takes you, I don't know. I
could help here. Obviously we have batch dialers, so I know some numbers, but I could tell you, if you are a VA or cold calling, 6 hours plus every day, and that's every day, like on the phones, you're going to get 2 to 3 quality leads. So, one caller should be able to get you about a deal a month. And sometimes that pipeline you need to build first. So, I can't tell you phone calls, but I could tell you call time. 6 to 8 hours will give you 2 to 3 quality leads every single day.
Powerful.
If you're saying it's 50 to 75, you need to build that pipeline up. So it's going to take you about a month of one person calling all day to really get you one deal. And as I said, you could scale from there.
Alex asks, any good place to find acquisition reps?
That's when I think it goes into networking.
Yeah, agreed.
Someone that wants to learn real estate, you meet them at a RIA, you can maybe hire them. We would hire on Indeed. and some stuff like that. But my best success has been through my networking. It's not great to work with people, but in wholesaling,
Facts.
I think it does work, to be honest with you. Don't hire like your best friend, but acquaintances. Start putting stuff on Instagram, or people that used to work for someone else that didn't work out. You could reach out, but there's a lot of different ways. I'd say networking works, and then you could have a small little budget on Indeed. But I would say
Yep.
post on Facebook groups. Post. I think you could find your first person. You could definitely find for free. So I would do that through going to RIAs, networking, Facebook groups, and just telling people, hey, I have a great sales position. Who knows of anybody available? I would say leverage your network, friends, family, everyone, and you're gonna find someone. My buddy that has a small team, he got his girlfriend's cousin came and worked for him. You know what I mean? You never know. You start, speak it into existence, let people know, and something will come to you. I truly believe that you need to let people know, what you're doing and what you're looking for. If you're quiet about it, no one's gonna know.
Yep.
What does batch leads do?
Yep.
Earon, you could take this one.
Yeah, so batchleads.io, guys, it's an all-in-one platform. This was the bread. My entire business is housed in batchleads.io. So every time we would source leads, wherever we source the leads from, you can source the leads from batch leads. That's what we would do. We would go in, type in our San Antonio, and then we could source the leads. Then we skip trace them in there. Now, when you skip trace them, now you have insight into your data and what your data looks like. How many of those leads are vacant? How many of them are absentee owners? You can look at all of these stats in your data. Then from there, you can text them and or export them into your dialer and call them. But what I've found in business is that the less steps you have to make and the less tools that you need, the better. So that's why I'm a fan of, I just want one warehouse to go to source all my materials, to organize all of my processes, to make my money. And I have a small little ecosystem within Batch, and it's all in one place. So this is where you get your leads, you source them, you skip trace them, you organize them, and you get them ready for your first 2 marketing channels, whether that be cold calling or SMS messaging. And it's just quick like that. Now, I just want to throw this out there. If you're gonna buy an AK-47 from Elon Musk, you have to get to know it. And you have to take a little time to learn your freaking tool. So there's so many people, and I'm telling you, because I'm always in the front line having these conversations. You have this powerful weaponry, and you're like, Earon, I don't know if this works, man. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's dissect it. What's wrong with it? Well, I don't know. I don't know how to do it. And it's like, that's why it doesn't work. You got to get to know it, man. You got to spend at least a couple hours to really dive in. Once you do, you're going to be like, yo, okay, I didn't know we could get busy like that. And so I just give the encouragement that there's a lot of you who already have it. That's good. That's beautiful. You're already halfway there. Get to learn it and then use it. You're this close to being able to close that next deal. You know what I mean? So just throwing that out there. That's what Batch Leads does, Mercy.
Yeah, it has direct mail as well. And then all of our other products integrate too. So you could push lists straight into your dialer to where you're not importing, exporting. We have literally 3 people onboarding and showing you the platform every day. You can sign up for a free trial and they'll show you everything. We are totally customer obsessed, because as I said, I want to help you guys get deals. The way we do that is what Earon just said. You got to know how to use the gun to shoot right. And it is a tool that is complicated to a sense, but we do our best to make sure that you can use the power of it. Let's take one more. Pick your favorite one, Earon. I have another meeting I got to get into.
Okay. We'll do one more, and I'll just see the first one. Boom. I've been doing high equity lists for the last 2 months with SMS campaigns. No luck yet. Any advice? I just want to take this real quick. It's Gabriella, I would never, ever recommend starting with a high equity list. High equity is whenever you're running so much volume that you got 6, 7, 8 odd plus cold callers or texters, and that's when you start getting there. We need to start with inherently motivated lists. It's called a distressed list, Gabriella. And it sounds like, you know, the tax lien, the code violation, the probate, the divorce list, the vacant list, the tired landlord list, the 2-story home, 65-plus-year-old list. That's actually an inherently motivated list, right? Because if you're 65 plus years old, you're starting to think about, man, I shouldn't be in this 2,500 square foot, 2-story home. I need to, because I'm getting a little older, So Gabriella, my strongest encouragement to you, continue doing what you're doing, but focus on an inherently motivated distress list, and that might run your numbers up a whole lot.
And then before we go, I hope you guys got value. This is super fun for me to do. I'm glad me and Earon got to do it. But Earon, I know that you've done free coaching for like ever and given all this value to help people scale their business. Now you're coming out with something paid. So I don't really understand exactly how much more value you could give, but like, what do you have going on? You have some new coaching program you were telling me about, or what do you got going on? Because I know the value that you give in something free like this with me. As I said, we're not trying to sell anything. I just know the people you've helped. So I want you, if you don't speak it out and let people know what you got, then no one's ever going to know. So what you got going?
I'm so excited I can scream, man. So really quick, my expertise, y'all, is helping wholesalers hit 6 figures with predictability. And I typically help wholesalers who are already willing to put in the work, but it's not the work, they just lack the clarity on the next steps. And so I can help them hit 6 figures as fast as possible. And I do that by establishing the 4 components every wholesale business needs. And where you can start is you can go to yourwholesalebiz.com. I just put a link. I have a link right there that I can put in there, but you can go to yourwholesalebiz.com, and basically, we do a strategy session. The strategy session is about 35 to 45 minutes, and it's completely free. And you might not like what I have to offer. Okay, and that's totally fine, but at least you get a one-on-one strategy session with me, not one of my minions, not somebody who works for me. It's with me. And I guarantee you this, at the very least, you will get clarity on where to take your wholesale business to. And if you like, and if your gut compels you to, and you want me as your coach, then I would gladly accept all who fit the criteria. And what we're looking for is individuals who are more committed to their success than I'm going to be to their success, because I get invested and I work one-on-one with the people that I coach, because this is my passion. I no longer work in my wholesale business, and I've worked fervently. You can ask Jesse, and I have to thank Jesse for how he's coached me and poked me and prodded me, but I have worked day and night to get to the point where I no longer have to work in my wholesale business, so I can do what I love. And that is to be able to serve people and to help them change their life by hitting 6 figures with predictability in their wholesale business. So the link is right there. You can go book a one-on-one strategy session with me, and I invite everybody to do that. Book up my calendar so I can talk to as many of you as possible, and hopefully I can give you some clarity.
And then again, obviously I'm selling nothing. I'm really here to just help you guys and show some of the business and experience that I've had. You guys know all the products that we have, however you got on, wherever you got on. We appreciate you coming. I hope y'all got some value. It was super fun. I'm very passionate about helping people, scale their business, start their business. I was there too, to where I had nothing and, got that entrepreneur bug, and have been lucky enough to fall into having good partners that, help me look smart from time to time.
I love it. I love it. Jesse, thanks for taking this time with me, bro. Love you, man. And thank you for everything you've done for me and for my business and my family and my company, bro. So much love. And until next time, guys, let's get it.
Yeah. And before you go, guys, we're going to send out a recording to everyone. This is going to be recorded. We're sending it to you guys. We appreciate y'all coming on. We had a great crowd. You're super interactive. We're out.
Hope you guys enjoyed the webinar. We gave so much value to so many people. Let's change your lives. Let's get some more deals, and let's get it.